CarEdge.com spring car market update. It is a good time to buy a new car. It is a difficult time to buy a used car. Dad, we do one of these every quarter. Go check out our other ones. Let's run through all the data and insights.
Well, you are Mr. Data and Insights, so I'm along for the ride here, buddy.
Awesome. If you're unfamiliar with us, it's me, my dad. My dad sold cars for 43 years. I started CarEdge with him about 4 years ago. We try and help people make smart decisions when they buy a car. Let's talk about the new car market
first.
Can I
tell you, I hate that picture of me. I just needed to throw that in. Go on.
New car market update. There are lots of brands with growing supply, and even the brands that previously didn't have a lot of supply, it continues to grow for them as well. The industry average right now, Dad, is a 76 days supply of inventory. Can you help us understand why we think days supply is important?
Well, days supply is important because based on current selling rates, that's how many days it would take at that selling rate to sell the existing inventory that's out there. Most manufacturers would like to keep their day supply of inventory at their dealerships between 45 and 75 days. So the national average at 76 days is right on the money. Unfortunately, there's not very many brands that fall at that number or lower.
Yeah, a lot of brands have more than 75 days supply. And if you remember some of our prior updates back in 2022 and 2023, days supply of new car inventory was very low. For certain brands, it was in the single digits,
yes,
which is why we saw market adjustments no more. The brands that have a lot of inventory, a lot of these logos you see on the screen, Infiniti, Chrysler, Genesis, Ford, Ram, Lincoln, Dodge, Audi, Jeep, Buick, these brands and a few others, they have an oversupply of inventory right now. That means that there are really significant deals to be had for the brands that have over that 75 days supply of inventory. The more days supply of inventory, the more incentive for dealers and the automakers themselves to discount prices and add incentives.
Absolutely. And there's one brand that should be on that list that isn't, and it is one of the better value Asian brands out there, and that would be Mazda. Mazda currently is sitting at 102 days supply of vehicles, and that is truly one of America's best value brands. So there are even better deals to be had on Mazda at the moment.
Stay tuned, folks. We have a slide dedicated to good value, and my dad's got one of the three that we're going to talk about when we get there. Now, some examples. Jeep Gladiators, leftover 2023 Jeep Gladiators, $16,100 off of a $55,955 MSRP Jeep Gladiator. We are seeing the most significant new car incentives against those vehicles that are leftovers, high days supply, and I hate to say it because, there was a big push for the EV revolution. A lot of electric vehicles, some Volvo vehicles out there, Dad, $25,000, $30,000 off of MSRP. So we have certain subsets and in certain regions of the United States, huge incentives against new cars right now. And an example here, Dad, of one of those electric vehicles, the 2023 Ford Mustang Mach-E, a 225 days supply in Phoenix, Arizona. That just doesn't work for the dealer or for the automaker. They have to lower prices to sell those cars.
Or they'll never sell those cars.
What happens to unsold new cars? We have a video on that. Go check it out. The brands that have limited inventory pops, Kia, Honda, Lexus, Toyota, and Land Rover. Those are your brands that have very little inventory, less than 75 days supply. The Land Rover, Data 2024 Land Rover Range Rover Sport has a 23 days supply in Phoenix, Arizona. We know from all the research our team has done, Land Rovers are the hardest vehicles to get your hands on right now. The most desirable, evidently, are these Range Rovers.
Yes, and it's perfect in Phoenix because, well, there's a lot of desert for you to drive those Range Rovers. People don't drive them off of the asphalt, but it is a large vehicle, a prestigious vehicle that people seem to be willing to pay top dollar for at the moment.
There's a theme here. There's either economical brands or there's really expensive luxury brands that have limited supply. Another one, maybe on the more economical side, would be the Toyota Sienna, 2024 Toyota Sienna, 39 days supply. But our data is wrong on that, folks, because you're on a wait list for months to get your hands on a Toyota Sienna. So there's certain vehicles out there that you really don't have a lot of negotiating power. And if you can get them at MSRP, that's a fair deal in today's market.
Absolutely. And there's a number of vehicles that would fall into that category. The Sienna, one of them, Toyota RAV4 hybrids, another. So there are some vehicles that just because the day supply is so low, you're going to find it difficult to find one in stock. You're probably going to have to put your name on an incoming one, and more than likely, you're not going to be able to get a really solid deal.
Yeah, fair enough. I will say back at CarEdge.com, we have Toyota dealers in the CarEdge dealer network, and we have $1,000 under MSRP on hybrids. The primes, however, the plug-in hybrids, that one's a little bit trickier to get your hands on at MSRP. Dad, let's comment on this though. No to market adjustments. Market adjustments were very common in 2022 and 2023. I really don't see a rationale to pay a market adjustment in 2024. Maybe the specialty of specialty vehicles, but those are even day by day becoming more in supply. Say no to market adjustments. It is a thing of the past. There's enough inventory to go around nowadays to, generally speaking, say no to market adjustments at all costs.
Many dealers are still asking for them, but you have to realize that's just an ask. They're hopeful that by placing a market adjustment on the vehicle, that a customer will walk in and go, "Well, I guess that's what it's going to take to buy that." But in reality, market adjustments have pretty much fallen by the wayside for most vehicles in most parts of the country.
Brands that represent a very good value on the new car side, Subaru, up to over a 70 days supply. There was a significant period of time where Subaru had less than a 20 days supply, so it has increased significantly. And then Nissan and Mazda, both with over 100 days supply on the new car side, means really good deals out there. I know on the
Yes.
CarEdge network on the Mazda side, we've got 4, 5, 6, 7, even up to 8% off of MSRP as dealer discounts. Plus, they still offer some subvented interest rates, 0%, 0.9%, 1.9%. Subaru, obviously, with growing inventory. Nissan, we know, has growing inventory problem. These three brands represent really fair values in today's market.
They are all value brands. I think of the three, the Subaru and the Mazda are the best value for money brands out there at the moment. And with a higher day supply, you should be able to get a significant discount on either a Mazda or a Subaru, and you'd be able to get a significant discount on the Nissan.
Day supply is one metric we look at, but let's look at units of inventory. A 200+% increase from October 2021 to February 2024 in terms of new vehicle inventory, from 886,000 new cars on dealer lots to 2.8 million vehicles on dealer lots. A 200,000 increase just from the prior month in January. New car inventory nationwide is building up.
It is indeed. We seem to be returning, much to the chagrin of many of the manufacturers, to pre-COVID level inventories, where in the past it was somewhere between 3.4 and 4 million new cars that were available on a monthly basis. Now we're up to 2.8 million. I would not be surprised that by summertime, if that number approaches 3 million or slightly more than 3 million, and that bodes well for consumers. That means that we should see more pressure on pricing to bring it down, and more incentives from the manufacturers to help spur the customer along.
To that point, average transaction prices for new cars are actually down fairly significantly month over month for the beginning of 2024. And they were starting to come down at the end of 2023 as incentive spend, to your point, Pops, has gone up significantly. The blue line on this chart shows you the V-shaped recovery in incentive spend. Automakers and dealers are taking money out of their pockets to try and convince customers to make moves on a new car. That leads us to our new car market update. We're saying it's a good time to buy a new car. Best time, as we all know, is the end of every month,
Yes.
and the best time is the end of every year. That being said, if you're in the market to buy a new car, no shame in your game. It's a good time to be a new car buyer.
It is a relatively good time in comparison to where we were just a year ago. Incentives are way up. Incentive spend is way up. Many of the manufacturers are subventing interest rates to make the interest rates on the loan more attractive. Dealers are being a little less greedy, and profit. New car front end profits are reverting back to pre-COVID levels, where, well, in honesty, they were next to nothing. So everything is trending in the right direction. if you are in the market for a new car. Still, a lot of overpriced vehicles out there. The only thing that would move this needle a little more is if dealers had a more affordable, under $30,000 price points new car availability.
All right, so let's turn our attention to where there should be under $30,000 price point inventory, and that would be used cars. Now, we'll start here, Dad, with a 24-month look at used car prices. They're down a little bit. They look
Yes.
like about the same where they were 2 years ago, which is generally a good thing. If you've been playing along at home, you know that like your the car in your garage had gone up in value significantly back in 2022 and 2023. Well, Pops, when we put this into perspective, this data from Edmunds, when we look all the way back to 2018, you can see used car prices are down, so that's great, but they are still significantly elevated from where they were pre-pandemic. All the way back to 2018, the average used car price was around $20,000. Nowadays, it's still north of $25,000. So there's still significant appreciation in used car values, even though they are down from their all-time highs of being typically about a $31,000 transaction price on a used car.
And unfortunately, they will probably remain somewhat elevated for some time due to the loss of production of approximately 10 million new cars that were supposed to have been built for sale in this country during 2021, 2022, 2023 that were not built. So that means there's 10 million cars that weren't sold. That means there's probably 6 million trades that never came in. That means quality used cars are going to remain in short supply, which means their values will be somewhat elevated and pricing will remain somewhat elevated.
Now, that being said, year over year, used car inventory is actually up 9%. So that's some good news. And used car days supply, just like we were talking about for new cars, used car days supply is up 2%. So some generally good trends, but still it's like you're coming down from Mount Everest. It's a tough pill to swallow in a lot of ways. Over on the wholesale side of the market, typically wholesale is a leading indicator for what will happen on the retail side, and it is definitely a leading indicator for what happens to trade-in values. Wholesale values have gone up. They've come back from at the end of last year. They were really, really, really crashing, and now they've come back up just a little bit. So they're moderating in many ways. But actually, considering it's spring selling season by the time you're watching this video, they haven't spiked like they have in prior years, not nearly as much as they did last year or the year before that. So things seem to be moderating a little bit in the wholesale market, which has led to really significantly lower trade-in valuations for customers.
Yes, which also means that many people who purchased cars in 2021, 2022, that for whatever reason want to trade out of those cars now are significantly upside down. And what that means is they owe considerably more on their vehicle than what the actual cash value of that vehicle would be, which is going to hinder them from being able to get into another vehicle.
We actually just got the latest data from Edmunds, an all-time record for the most amount of negative equity on trade-ins coming in Q4 2023. That's the latest data we have. $6,064 is the amount of negative equity the average customer was bringing to the table, the most in the data set that Edmunds tracks. One more tidbit before we rank what's going on in the used car market would be APRs. The average used car loan right now is 14.34%. The average new car loan right now is 9.76%. Now, how can we in good conscience say that the new car market is a good time to buy? Because there are a lot of subvented manufacturer and endorsed and incentivized interest rates. On the used car side, the average is 14%.
Uh,
Thus leading to our prognosis that it is a quote unquote difficult time to be a used car buyer.
Yeah, it's a tough time to buy a used car right now. To find a good quality one at a reasonable price. B, to be able to get an affordable monthly payment based on what average finance rates are. It's a tough time to be in the used car market. So at this point in time, if you can find a comparable new car that you can get a sizable discount on, you might be better off going that route.
If you like this type of information, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and please check out all the various free data, resources, cheat sheets, strategy cards, deal school. We've got it all back on CarEdge.com. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you for doing it with me, Pops, and everyone enjoy the day.
Thank you, Handsome.